ask you something, only then you need to speak something. Otherwise, keep it on mute mode. Okay, so we begin with chapter 3, and it is all about vector valued functions, or simply vector function. Before I tell you vector function, let me tell you what is a scalar function. You are already familiar with single variable function y equal to fx. Let's call it scalar function because its output is a scalar. But I write a function here, rt equal to xt I cap plus yt j cap plus zt k cap. X, y, z are functions of t. You can see clearly its output is a vector. Suppose t belongs to the closed interval a to b. This expression defines a vector function because for each value of t, it gives you a vector in this interval. I will take up some examples. But before that, what is it geometrically? Geometrically, it is a curve starting from which point? T equal to a. T equal to a means which vector? Xa I cap, ya j cap, za k cap. So I can say this curve starts from the point xa, ya, za and finishes at, let's say this point is a, finishes at b. What are coordinates of b? xb, yb, zb. So if xt, yt, zt are continuous functions on this interval, then geometrically this vector function represents a 3D curve, a curve in space starting from the point xa, ya, za, ending to the point xb, yb, zb. You know this vector is nothing but the position vector of which point? Let's say general point with coordinates xt, yt, zt. Hope you understand it. So this first point, you know, is position vector of which point? xa, ya, z. So as you keep on increasing t, you are getting various points and you are joining them to get the curve in 3D space. So this is the geometry of vector function. It is a vector function of single variable. This is also a function of single variable, but it is scalar. There is no vector. And you know its geometry. If it is a continuous function and it represents some curve in xy plane. But here, it is a three-dimensional curve in space. So you can understand the difference. Now let us take some examples that will help you to understand vector function in a better way. First, I write the Cartesian form of some curves. Then you will express these in the vector form.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, the whole of the board is not visible.
Is it for all?
No, sir,
No,
it's
sir, it is
visible.
not.
It's
Visible.
so it's visible, but it's not
Not
very
perfectly clear.
clear. Like
Not very
yes,
clear.
sir.
We can't help. It may be some internet issue from your side. Okay.
Sir, clear.
Sir, it's completely clear.
It's
So
clear,
when
sir.
you will see the
Quite clear.
when you will see this
Completely clear.
lecture on YouTube, you will see it very clearly. Don't worry. If you miss something
Okay,
at the moment, please bear with it. It is online.
Sir, ask the students to print the screen.
Sorry.
Sir,
Okay,
ask
sir.
the students to pin the screen, then it will be very clear.
No,
It's
students
already
can.
pinned.
I have already.
It's already pinned.
It is already pinned. Yeah, because there are around 250 students attending this class, so there may be some, internet issue. and there is a load on the website, there can be many factors. But don't worry, the recording of this would be very clear. And you can watch it again if you miss something.
Okay, sir.
All right. So this is,
Okay, sir, no
are
problem.
you able to identify this curve? What is it?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Straight line.
This is a 3D line.
Straight line.
line in straight line in space.
Can you write the vector function representing this line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If I assume all these equal to t, then x is
TL plus x naught.
see this. Is it correct? Because x is
Yes.
x naught plus lt, y is y naught plus mt, z is z naught plus mt.
Yes, sir.
And you know it is a straight line passing to the point x0, y0, and having direction ratios or direction cosines ln.
Sir,
So you are familiar with this curve, and we have represented this by this vector function. Yes.
sir. So what is the difference graphically between a scalar function and the vector function? I'm not able to understand.
Scalar function output is a scalar, isn't it? You are not seeing any vector. Its plot is simply a two-dimensional curve. Its plot lies in xy plane only. But
All right. Thank you.
for
Thank you.
this, the plot is in three-dimensional space. Output is a vector.
So, like, what is the difference between a
Yes.
scalar curve and vector curve? So, what is the difference between a scalar curve and a vector curve?
I've already explained. Output
So,
of
like,
this function
both-
is what is scalar. Please keep your questions for the end. Note down your questions. I will explain in that. Otherwise, the lecture would be interrupted again and again. I will explain
Okay,
your any doubts at the end. Unless there is some very urgent doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, keep yourself on mute mode, and you can ask your doubts towards the end of the lecture. So x square plus y square equal to a square. What is it geometrically?
Circle.
Equation of circle.
Right circular cylinder.
In unless I mention the dimensions, you cannot answer it. You should say in 2 dimensions it is a circle, in 3 dimensions it is a cylinder.
Square.
Circular cylinder. If I put comma z equal to 0, now you are sure that it is a circle.
Cylinder. Hollow.
Now this comma this.
Circle.
Because this cylinder is intercepted by this plane, z equal to 0.
Circle in xy plane.
In xy plane, yes. This circle of radius a, centered at 0, 0 in xy plane. Correct? We can say this plane is z equal to 0. What is its vector form? Means how can you write this in vector form?
A cos t plus
A cos theta plus A sin.
A cos t I cap, A sin t j cap, plus
0.
0 sin j cap, because z is 0. This is the vector form. Actually, you are writing parametric form, showing it in vector form, isn't it? Now, what if it is z equal to 1?
Circle in plane parallel to xy plane.
A circle parallel to xy plane.
Circle.
Circle, but where?
Parallel to xy plane with center at
In the plane z equal to 1.
Center 0, 0, 1.
Same circle, but in the plane z equal to 1, which is parallel to xy plane, right? So how to write its vector function? Just replace here 1. So this vector function represents this circle, a circle lying in the plane z equal to 1. I'm writing another equation. You have to identify what is it. First, write its vector form, means vector function.
Sir, it's not visible. Like after equal to, it's not visible.
Is it for all?
No, sir, visible.
No, sir, it
Yes,
is
sir.
visible.
No, sir.
We can
Visible.
see.
No.
No,
Yeah.
sir.
No, sir.
If you're on the
Plus
mobile and you
TK
keep
cap.
the screen horizontally,
TK cap.
then you can see it.
Plus
Plus
TK cap. TK cap.
Do you understand its geometry?
Yes, sir.
What?
No, sir.
What is its geometry and why?
It's a helix.
Let me give you a range of t. Suppose t goes from 0 to any higher value. So, this is the first point on this curve. If you put t equal to 0, you get x equal to a, y equal to 0, z equal to 0. Means you are starting from the point a, 0, 0. You know it lies on x-axis. What happens after that? As you increase the value of t, x, y are certainly moving into a circle. They will follow the circular path, but your z, that is equal to t, is increasing. Z increasing means the plane of the point is changing. In fact, it is rising. So move in a circle, but every time lifting the plane. What do you get?
Helical path.
Spiral.
You get a spiral. In this case, we call it circular helix. We call it circular helix.
So can you please repeat the expression in the third point?
Sir, sir, the range of Z is fixed.
No, it is 0 to infinity. I have shown here.
No, but it is cos inverse.
Don't
Inverse.
consider it. Just I have written it for analogy. Okay, I know the cos of cos inverse may not be equal to this. Okay, you consider this thing.
Okay.
Just to complete this process, I wrote it in Cartesian form. Okay.
Okay.
Consider this vector function. Its graph is this circular helix. Are you okay with this? Because
Yes, sir.
x y move in circle, but z is increasing with t. Z increasing means plane of the point is rising above the xy plane.
So can you please once again explain this? How is it a helix?
That's what I'm explaining. You see, x y are following a circle, correct? And z is t.
Yes, sir.
As you increase the values of t, what happens? First point is a 0, 0. Let's say next point is corresponding to t equal to 1. So what is that point?
Okay.
A cos 1, a
Okay.
sin 1, and 1. Where is that point in the plane? Z equal to 1.
Okay.
So every time the point is going to a different plane dictated by z equal to t. You keep on moving, but at the same time keep on rising. So you will get a spring kind of structure called spiral. In this case, we call it circular helix. If I change these values, say this is 1, this is 2, then what we call it? Instead of circular helix, we can call it,
Elliptical helix.
right? So hope you understand that why is it convenient to represent the three-dimensional curves or 3D curves in vector form. You see, to write the circle in z equal to 1, I have written two different equations. But in vector form, you are able to represent the same thing in one expression, isn't it? So it's very convenient in vector form. So three-dimensional curves are parameterized by t and are written usually in the vector form. So hope this idea is clear, that RT equal to XT I cap plus YT j cap plus ZT k cap represents a three-dimensional curve.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, how did you find the expression for Z?
What is x? A cos t. And z was cos inverse x upon a, isn't it? So what is x upon a if you substitute here?
Cos T. Oh, okay, okay. Sir.
All right. We are going out of the time. I will take 10 minutes more. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
No, sir, we have a class.
Yeah, we have
Okay, 5 minutes. And those who want to leave, they can leave. They can see later on. So, next point that I want to tell you is the limit. How do you say limit for scalar function or function of one variable? Limit x tending to a, fx is L. Means as x tends to a, fx tends to L, right? Or I can also write in this form, the absolute difference of fx and L goes to 0. These two are same. In analogy to this, limit of a vector function is defined like this. Limit of a vector function RT is said to be a vector L if limit t tends to t0 RT minus L is 0. But this modulus has a different meaning from this one. These are vectors. When I'm putting this sign, it means I'm taking magnitude of this difference vector. Okay? It looks like same, but it's a different thing. But anyway, this is the definition. If magnitude of RT minus L goes to 0 as t tends to t0, we say that limit of RT is L. Suppose components of L are L1, L2, L3. This is a constant vector, remember that. Plus, because it is limit of RT. Suppose its components are L1, L2, L3. Components of RT you already know. XT, YT, ZT. So can I write this expression in this format? Square root of xt minus L1 whole square, yt minus L2 whole square, plus zt minus L3 whole square. Are you okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Magnitude of it, right? Now you see sum of squares of three quantities is 0 as t tends to t0. It means these individually should be 0, isn't it? So from this,
Yes.
can I say limit t tends to t0 xt is L1, limit t tends to t0 yt is L2, and limit t tends to t0 zt is L3. Okay. So I'm telling you now a working formula that you will use in the problems. This limit is this, or finding limit of RT as t tends to t0 means limit t tends to t0 xt I cap plus limit t tends to t0 yt j cap. Similarly, you can write limit t tends to t0 zt k cap. This is the formula for limit that you will use in doing the problems. Means taking limit of R means taking the limit component wise. And you know these are scalar functions. You can easily find their limits. Fine, there is a technical definition also. Let me tell you very quickly. But you need not to use that. Just I'm telling you for completeness. What is that? Given epsilon positive, let me clean first. Given epsilon positive, there exists delta positive such that magnitude of RT minus L RT minus L is less than epsilon for 0 less than T minus T0 less than delta. Let me explain you very quickly what is it. You need not to use it in the problems. Actually, for a given epsilon, we can find a delta depending on epsilon. This will depend on epsilon. There is a procedure for doing this. Okay, you will see details in chapter 14. For the time being, just understand what I'm telling. For given epsilon, I can find a function delta depending on epsilon such that this goes to 0 as delta goes to 0. Or I should write it epsilon goes to 0. Means delta goes to 0, epsilon goes to 0. But what is the meaning of delta going to 0? T tends to T0. And what is the meaning of epsilon going to 0? RT tends to L. So this is epsilon delta definition, okay? It's given in the textbook, but don't worry about it. You need not to use. For finding limits, you need to use this formula. Let me take a very quick example on limit, how to solve for a vector function. Find limit of t going to pi cos t I cap plus sin t j cap plus t square k cap. Can you write its answer following this formula?
minus I cap.
Yeah, you will apply the limit to all the components, right? So what is limit t tends to pi cos t?
Minus 1.
Minus I cap plus pi square k cap.
Pi
square k cap.
Pi square k cap.
So zero J cap.
Yeah. So you see, doing the problems is very easy, but I wanted to explain you all the concepts in case you are interested there. So this is the final working formula for limit of a vector function. So today I have told you what is a vector function with examples, its geometry, and then I have told you the meaning of limit for a vector function and the working formula for finding limit of a vector function. So in the next lecture, I will continue further with continuity, differentiability, integration, etc. Means the calculus of the vector function.
Excuse me, sir.